Welcome to the Healing Circle. I'm Christine, founder of Embodied Energy Wellness, a shamanic energy practitioner and soul guide. This is a space for honest conversations about healing, awakening, and the moments that shape us. We all carry a story, and this is a place where those stories can be shared, witnessed, and gently healed, together in community. This isn't about fixing yourself, it's about remembering yourself. Take a deep breath. You're very welcome here. Before we begin, I want to gently let you know that this episode includes a personal story shared by my guest. Some themes may include trauma, grief, pregnancy, or baby loss, or sensitive life experiences. This story is shared willingly and with care, and I invite you to listen in a way that feels safe and supportive for you. As always, you're welcome to pause or step away at any time. Today's conversation is one of courage, truth, and deep remembering. Nikita joins me to share her journey through addiction, a deeply traumatic childhood, and return home to herself, to sobriety and spiritual awakening. Now almost 2 years sober, Nikita walks a 12-step spiritual program and holds space for others on their own healing paths. This is a conversation about reclaiming your voice, releasing shame, and discovering that your story isn't something to fear, it's something that can set you free. Nikita, welcome to the Healing Circle.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You're so welcome. Come here, tell me, where did it start, the journey? Let's go back.
The journey, I suppose now when I look back, it's two different journeys. It's the journey that I'm on today, and then I suppose it was the journey that I was given, or maybe, what would you say? I don't know, the journey that I experienced in my younger life.
It's like when we say, like, what I do, my own journey is I have two different parts, the unhealed version and the healed version.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of what it is? We kind of split ourselves into two on our journey, on our path, don't we?
Yeah. And I suppose the journey in the unhealed version, that would have started very young. You know, I wouldn't have known. I was young, I wouldn't have known the words trauma. I wouldn't have known the words dysfunctional. I wouldn't have known what I know today, and I wouldn't be able to look at my childhood the way I do today then, as I was only a small child. I was adapting to my surroundings, my environment, and it was all perfectly normal to me.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, that the norm can be our comfort, but actually as a child we step into the survival mode and we don't actually realize that we are in survival mode.
Yeah. And, you know, I went straight into survival mode, I suppose, looking back now, very early on. really into shutdown, survival mode. You know, this world isn't safe.
Yeah. I keep hearing the words 3 or 4. Panic. 3 or 4 years of age.
So when I was 4, I went into foster care.
Okay. That's what's coming up here. Yeah.
I was removed from my mother's care due to addiction in the home.
Yeah.
And obviously when you're 4, you know, I didn't understand addiction. I just knew that was my mother. That was my primary carer up until then. Yeah. So I was like, where am I going? What is happening? This is scary. I just want to be with my ma. But that wasn't the case. You know, I was took into care, and that was very confusing. Because there was no talking of what had happened. It was kind of a situation where you're in care now. That's it. Your ma's unwell. and kind of just you plod along. But as
Yeah,
a
there was no
small,
explanation. Yeah.
yeah,
And there's no
um,
end. You're not told what's happening
yeah,
next. So
yeah,
it's that
yeah,
fear of the unknown as well, isn't it? It's like I'm here, but I don't know what's going to happen, which your whole
yeah,
root chakra is completely
yeah,
out of whack. Like,
yeah, yeah. So that was like I went into the care of my auntie, my mom's sister, which she took great care of me.
good, yeah.
Um, she really did. She done her best. But still within me, no matter what anyone done, no matter the care that I went into, um, the kind of love I was given in that care, I still within me, when I look back now, something had been fractured at that moment when I was took, you know.
So that's what I feel is that you experience soul loss.
Mm,
So like soul loss can happen even the minute we're born if it's a traumatic birth. Okay, so you being taken from your mother's arms, but obviously not understanding what addiction was and that you might have been in danger. Um,
mm,
still that's your mom. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's that bond regardless of addiction.
Mm,
Um, so what is coming in here is the soul loss happened at 4 years of age.
yeah.
So that would literally put you on a path of confusion, rejection as well,
Abandonment. No
abandonment.
one wants me.
Yeah. But also, were you bullied in the care as well at some stage?
Yeah, well, I went into the care of my auntie, and then due to me, when I went then into my teenage years, obviously my behavior went off the wall, and I was moved around to different care homes,
Yeah.
and there would have kind of been bullying and stuff in them care homes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Nikita.
Mm,
That is a very hard upbringing, you know.
yeah.
And you go in survival mode, and sometimes we can be the bully too. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Because
Because you're
we're in that.
terrified underneath it all, so I'm going to pretend to be strong and brave here because then maybe I can be something. But underneath,
Yeah,
you're terrified, but you have to put on some sort of
face.
something
Yeah,
just to even feel something for a little bit, like.
yeah. No, totally get it. Totally get it. And, what did you then kind of fall into in terms of like when we experience soul loss at such a young age and we're in that fear of abandonment and rejection? Um, we always reach out to find something
Oh my
for that
God.
connection.
Connection. When I look back, I searched in the darkest, most dysfunctional, most desperate places for love that you
Yeah.
could think of. But that was what, like, it was what I thought to be love.
Normal.
I thought
Yeah.
it's what I thought those spaces were. I thought those spaces were my spaces. It was where something inside of me was going, yeah, you're grand here, you're comfortable here. But it was dark. When I
Hmm.
look back now, it was dark, like.
We also, that's all we feel we deserve.
Mm,
Because you would have been in that dark energy around your mom and her addiction.
mm,
So in natural fact, you were seeking comfort in that same energy when you were
yeah,
turning into a teenager
yeah,
because you're trying to stumble around for the comfort. And if
yeah.
that's all you knew at such a young age,
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
was only just a matter of time, wasn't it?
It's just a matter of time, yeah, kind of. When I was getting kind of older, and I was always kind of older before my age anyway.
Yeah,
People would say that to me. You seem a lot older than what you are. I was the eldest out of all of us, so you start
yeah.
to carry those roles and the responsibility, and it was like I was older for my age. Um, But when I look back now, do you know what it is? When I look back now, it was like that type of trauma and that type of upbringing and those type of situations, like it's only now I can really say, like, you learn some things in those survival states that
Oh,
a book
100%.
or a course like would not teach you. You know, you really do when you have to adapt to that type of survival and grit and how am I going to get out of this? You know, when is the blackness, the darkness ever going to lift? And when it does, and you learn the lessons and you get the wisdom from it, it's like, right, you know, I always say when I was growing up, everything was why, because I was so confused.
Yeah.
There were no answers. I couldn't understand situations and the way things were, and I would constantly question everything. Why, why, why? And now, of late, I keep getting these inner messages. It's like, now I know why. Now I know why I had to have that kind of start in life, let's say.
Yeah. Because, you know, there's a thing I always say, you can be either the victim of your past or
Mm,
you can be victorious by
mm,
learning the lessons, you
yeah.
know. And it's just actually for my own journey, um, things started coming back into me last week, and I was like, why are these coming back in?
Mm,
Because there was another level of deeper understanding I need to sit and reflect on. And that's why I love when we pivot from the darkness into the light. You know, the darkness is always there. Our shadow side is always going to be there. And
always.
I feel like people, when they seek out to heal, they expect like, oh, it's like she's just done one session, I'm healed. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, you know, it's actually a process.
Oh my
And
God, it is, yeah.
your healing journey is not linear. It's actually 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, do a little twirl, come back around. Like it's
Mm,
just like pew, pew, pew. I always think of a ping pong ball going flying around the room. Like
yeah,
that's your
it
healing
is.
journey.
It is. Yeah.
But
And
when
it's
you stay in the path,
yeah, you do, because you start to, I think when you go on the journey, like for me, I didn't like wake up and say, oh, I'm going to go on a healing journey today. I
yeah,
didn't. I woke up after another night of drinking and using drugs to really try and block out the inner pain that I was in.
yeah.
And I woke up after another, what I would say as a shit show of a night. And I just woke up one morning. I said, I can't do this anymore. You know, the inner voice was screaming like,
Yeah.
and the drink and the drugs weren't working anymore. I had to turn and face what I was suppressing.
Do you know what? It's funny, like when we have those turning points, you know, for my own journey, I remember like I was partying like no tomorrow in my early 20s
Mm,
and blocking out, disconnecting, thinking this is the way it was supposed to be. I
yeah,
wasn't deeply unhappy, right?
yeah.
Deeply unhappy. Like, and everything, I was the victim. You know what I mean? Anything that happened to me happened to me, no one else, you know?
Mm,
And there was one night, there was a big party, and I remember sitting there, like, thinking, going, like, well, I just push it to the limit. Well, I just
mm,
keep doing, like, the partying parts, the drugs, the drink. Well, I just keep pushing to the edge and see if I wake up tomorrow.
yeah, yeah. I get you. That was like
And
my kind of, yeah. It was just,
but you can understand how people OD. That there's a thought process of going, I just want to push to the
mm,
very max of what I can do. And I remember thinking to myself, going, if I survive tomorrow, then there's great things for me to do.
yeah,
Someone's going to look after me. Someone's
mm,
there looking after me.
yeah,
And when I woke up, do you know what happened was I'd lay down on the bed and just said, right, that's it, I'm done. I'm just going to see what happens. And then it was like someone dragged me to the toilet and I puked for about 4 hours.
mm,
And I remember the next day going, oh shit, I actually think I have something that I have to do here in this life.
yeah.
And that was the start of it for me. When
Mm.
was your start? When was your turning point?
The turning point for me was I woke up after like that my usual carry on, you know, going out on the weekend with about 50,000 problems inside of me, but I didn't care. I was going out and I was going to drink on them and do whatever I had to do with them. But this particular time I woke up and just got that whole sudden thing. It's like, you can't keep doing this. Can't. You know what's wrong. Not that I knew what was wrong, but you know you're not drinking and taking drugs to have a laugh and socialise.
Yeah.
You know you're doing it to put yourself into oblivion because you're not able to manage your own spirit and mind. You can't handle what is coming up. So you want to just get it away, get it away, get it away. So I suppose I just woke up that morning. I was like, I can't do this anymore. But then I was so scared because I was like, what else do I do? That's what I've done. I
For years.
don't know where else to go. I don't know what else to do. I've never spoke about my emotions. How am I going to say I'm like dying on the inside? How am I going to tell anybody that? I look like I'm grand. I'm having a great time every weekend, you know. People are saying you're doing amazing.
I know. And then there's also then the realization that the people that you've surrounded yourself with have to go.
Yeah, that's it. Another grieving. Very, very lonely.
Oh, like the isolation.
Unbelievably lonely. Is there, that whole thing came up for me again. Is there something wrong with me? Am I different?
Yeah.
Even in my sobriety.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've always, like I say to my clients and going like, you need, like we've spent so many years being surrounded by people, maybe toxic people, you know, environments that don't serve us. And because there's comfort in that.
Yeah.
But the healing happens when we are on our own and on your spiritual journey, on your spiritual awakening journey. There is times where you have to isolate yourself because that's where the deep wisdom comes in. When you step away from the noise, the chaos, and you need that time. Like I remember years ago when I was in the height of that energy of like trauma, the thoughts of actually sitting on my own in silence for longer than 2 seconds terrified me.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrified me. I was like, what? No, Jesus. Because what were we doing? We were really trying to separate ourselves from what was coming up in our heart, what was coming up in our mind. So we were so detached from our soul that the thoughts of sitting with our soul was scary, terrifying.
Unbearable. Yeah. And I remember a particular time in the first year of my recovery. It was actually the first Christmas and I was in recovery, and I remember that feeling. You know, I actually remember it felt like my body, my chest and my legs, it was like they were being stretched because it was like my body had the stored memory of what are you doing? How come you're not blackout drunk? How come you're sitting in your body feeling and it's Christmas? You know, you're usually out there, you're usually partying, you're usually with the crowd. But this first Christmas, I was by myself. No drink, no substance, just with my mind and with my body. And I remember I was like, this. It was really like growing pains, but it was like I had to sit with it. I had to let the pain move through me. And, you know, that's when I got the realization, like this is the work. This is what it is. This is sitting with it. This is not running from it. And then I had my second Christmas there in recovery, and like I was up at my auntie's house. I was on the chairs. I was dancing.
Yeah.
And now that's
totally different.
But the first, I remember the first birthday in recovery, the first Christmas, the first, you know, everybody going out for big events that I just felt I could have went to, but I was making choices to protect myself. And I remember going, oh, it was like a totally new life. But I was in my mid-30s and I was looking around and it was like I was grown again, but I wasn't a small child. I was an adult. And
new life.
Yeah.
Your second life.
Yeah.
The healed version. And, you know, The thing about, like, you had to step away from your norm in the
Mm.
unhealed version. Where did you go? Like, when you said I needed help, where did you first go for your help to get you on to get sober?
I linked in with an addiction service down here where I live in Wicklow,
Brilliant.
and I literally went in. It'd be nearly 2 years ago, and I sat in front of that key worker and I literally said those words. I need help. I am terrified and I do not know what to do or where to go. And looking back now, that would have been the start of it, because I had a belief system up until then that you do not say you need help. No matter
Hmm.
what happens, stand tall, face it, get on with it. You're going to be all right. So for me to go in and sit across from her, and I had to say I'd nowhere else to go. I'd no more avenues to take, or I couldn't like lie to myself anymore. It was in that moment that when I said that was what I needed. I needed help. My life was unmanageable. I was scared. I didn't know what direction to go, and she advised me then to start the meetings. So AA meetings, CA
Yeah.
meetings, and I did. And that's when I came in contact through those meetings. They work a 12-step spiritual program.
Okay.
And, that was terrifying. I was 33. I was
Hmm.
young. I didn't want to stop drinking. Um, I didn't want to stop what I was doing, but like I say, I had nowhere else to go. And I went to my first meeting. It would be the 28th of January, coming up this month, 2 years ago. And I just haven't looked back. You know, one thing that I felt when I went into those meetings was honesty, connection, hope. You're going to be okay here. There's other people that are speaking the way you're feeling. Just stay, just stay, just stay. And I kept staying, I kept going. And I think about 4 months in, then I got a sponsor and I went through the 12 steps. And like, oh, I can't praise the 12 steps enough. I, like, I had psychiatric help. I had been to the darkest places, and I kept saying, there's going to be nothing that's going to be able to help me. The way my mind is, the way I think, the way my inside kind of spirit works, nothing is going to help me. And then I went in and done the steps, and like, I can't really explain it. It's like, like the 12th step is you will have a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
So tell us, what is your life like now? After doing the work for the last 2 years, what did it open up for you in terms of your healed version? What's it look like now?
My life is, oh, I was going to say my life is amazing. No, my life is good. My life is life on life's terms. Like we were saying at the start, it's layers. I can get
Yeah.
some good weeks, some good months, and then I can get some bad weeks and even some bad months. But what the difference is today is I have the tools,
Yeah.
I have the community, I have my tribe. I know I don't have to go out anymore and suppress. I have
Yeah.
an awareness. I have a deep, deep connection to who I am. I don't care what that looks like to anyone else. I know it. It's my connection. Um,
I think that is the secret, isn't
yeah,
it? To reconnect back to your authentic self and to
yeah,
remember, who you are.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I'm like, the realizations that I've got kind of the last 2 years, I've done a lot of work, around my belief systems, and I'm like, you're not just a child that went into care and whose ma was an addict, and you're not. You're
No.
Nikita. You're a mother. You've many gifts. You're not just this who I thought I was, doused in shame, fear. I have nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
Like, I was carrying shame that was generationally really not dealt with, and that was passed through me. So
Yeah.
I held the shame then.
That's
And
why
then,
the ancestral trauma, the ancestral lineage comes down through the line, from
yeah.
our parents, our grandparents, our great great grandparents,
Mm,
and that's our calling, is to remember that we're down here to heal
yeah.
the ancestral lineage, and that's mainly, what we're here on this planet to do, is to shed the layers that have been passed down to us.
Mm,
And in terms of behavior, mindsets, how we react, how we respond,
yeah.
it all comes down. It's like, oh, thanks, Dad, thanks, Mom. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll just shed all this, and like, you stay there, you can chill. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm,
But it's an honor, though.
yeah. Oh, it is. I think if you can, like you're saying, like if you can get through that kind of darkness, if you can get through the spiritual awakening, because the spiritual awakening can be very, very confusing.
Yeah.
I wanted to run so many times. I didn't want to deal with all that stuff. No way. I wasn't. I didn't want to look at it. So the spiritual awakening it can be so confusing. But like you were saying at the start, if it's not going to take like a week or two or one or two healing sessions.
No.
And it's also not going to take you having to wake up every day of your life and do healing from 12 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night. It's not, but it is
No.
going to take you at one stage of your life, if it is being affected by past stuff, to say, right, I need to sit down here. I need to do a little bit of work. Do I need to link in with a therapist? Do I need to link in with a healer? Or like what I used to do and what I still do is continuously go to healing spaces.
Yeah.
I
You see,
share, I connect,
yeah, exactly. Because I think a lot of people think they're afraid of the spiritual awakening or sitting in their shadow because they think they have to do it on their own. And that's what us healers are there. We're the alchemists of our trauma or our healing journey. You know what I mean?
mm,
That we've walked a path, we've shedded, we've healed. And that's why I think so important this podcast is to share our stories so other people can get inspired to say, do you know what? I think I will step onto my spiritual journey, my spiritual path, because I know there's resources out there now to
yeah,
hold me in that space.
yeah. And that's what it is, Christine. When I look back, it was people holding me.
Yeah.
Me being on my knees and people holding me in spaces and looking at me and saying, not judging, and they're saying, you're going to be okay, Nikita. You're going to get through this.
Yeah, because you see, our ancestors used to sit around in sacred space around the fire, and everyone held everyone in community. You
Mm,
know, everything was laid bare around the fire, and the wise elders would give the wisdom, and then they would move and dance around that fire to release that trauma out of their bodies.
yeah,
And they would do rituals and ceremonies to heal the person in the community that's suffering. And
yeah,
that's why the shaman of the village would come down. He would always be up, isolated, up further away from the community, but he would come, or he or she would come down and would then do the healing.
yeah,
And that's how I was actually reading only last night. We've moved as a society so far away from community. And I think
yeah,
that's why a lot of people are seeking out wellness communities, are seeking out deep, meaningful conversations. Like, that's why the full moon healing circle is so powerful, is
yeah,
because people are seeking that connection. Because I'm holding the space in terms of creating it. But as a community, all of us coming together, we're all holding each other.
yeah. like power happens in it. You can feel it. You can like, why are so many people gathering at the full moon healing circle now? Whether they can verbalize it or not, they can
Yeah.
internally feel something is happening here. I feel safe here. I feel connected. You know, we're all just one soul looking into another, and
Yeah.
you
But
know,
we all come with no judgment,
mm,
and we're all being held and in love and connection.
yeah,
I think deep down, that's what we thrive is love and connection, But when we experience trauma like you did, you seek that connection in toxic environments and toxic habits
yeah.
that didn't serve you.
Yeah, and that was a huge thing for me when I first came in and I started to go on my little journey and all, and I was coming into, thank God I happened to come into a space down here. They're actually two of my great friends now. They have a
Deadly.
healing space down here, Tom and Fiona, and but I remember the first couple of times going, and because my belief was that love was maybe dark, uncertain, you know, you'd get a little bit here, a little bit there. When I went into their space and they literally held me, supported me, um, they were like, come back next week. They were giving me hugs. They were being really nice. I was like, okay, what's going on here? Because it wasn't my normal, but
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to open up a little bit more. I'm going to keep going to this space. I'm going to keep being in this space, you know. And I think that can be the difficult part for people that are traumatized and they're trying to come in and they're trying to get on
Well,
a path and they're being met with love, understanding, compassion. They're like, oh no, what's this? Even though they deeply,
yeah.
deeply want it.
You see, it comes down to self-worth. Are we
Yeah,
worthy of being held? Are we worthy of being loved?
yeah, yeah.
And that's why we always say the first step on your healing journey is bringing that outward focus inwards.
And that is where it starts because that's kind of the stuff I have been saying now, in particular the last few months. I've been saying, no, no, you do deserve this, Nikita. Why don't you? You know, so it's getting that belief and the internal belief first that you do deserve it and you are worthy of it, and it doesn't matter what it was like up until now. You can wake
Yeah,
up
exactly.
on any given day and say, no, I don't want that anymore, and lean
And that's
into
the other
something
thing.
better.
Everyone can change. Everyone has a right to change. But it's funny that the people around us, that if we decide to start changing, they get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
You ruffle feathers when you start to change. And I always said, if I'm not pissing somebody else off on my healing journey, then I'm definitely not healing.
Yeah.
Because people don't like change,
No, no, they don't. Because
you know,
they do say like they hold a certain kind of image
frequency.
or whatever because of whatever involvement they may have in your life, but you don't
But
stay
you're
like that forever.
exactly, but you're also mirroring back on them that they're not changing, which they don't like.
Mm.
And that could ruffle the feathers. So, when you're on that journey, it's always about bringing that outward focus inwards and beating to your own drum,
Yeah, yeah, it
you
is.
know.
You have to.
Nikita, what last words of wisdom would you like to share with the listeners today?
I suppose, like, my kind of words of wisdom is that it doesn't matter, like, where you come from. It doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but not to let the impact of, like, where you come from, how you grew up, circumstances you may have had to face, like, don't let that impact, like, what could be. Like, don't let it run through too long into your adulthood, you know, if you can, or if you do feel that you're having an internal battle with yourself, or that you're repeating patterns that you just don't want to repeat anymore, but that are deeply ingrained to you, like, give yourself that chance. Lean into a healer, lean into a therapist, you know, and say to yourself, like, I want to do better. I want to have better. I don't have to keep repeating or doing what was shown or given to me. And like you're saying, like, there's so many spaces out there now today, and so many therapists and healers to avail of, to start to, like, lift the heaviness out of your spirit, so then you can make room to go into a new way, or be a new way. Or you don't have to go with what was given to you in this life. You don't. No matter
Yeah,
how hard it is, you can change the patterns, you can break them, you can change the belief. It can be done.
but it comes down to self-belief, doesn't it?
And fear will come in. Let it come in. Let it. Walk with it. It'll soon go away. Like, if you weren't feeling fearful, you wouldn't be doing it somewhat right. Fear doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, or fear doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work out. Fear is there sometimes to keep us in the comfort and whatever, but you have to look at it, you have to walk with it and know that you're going to be okay.
Exactly. Nikita, thank you so much for sharing your story today. It's been an honor to hold space for you, and I hope the listeners have gotten something, and I'm sure they have 100%, because your story is very inspirational. Thank you so much for joining me on the Healing Circle, and look forward to seeing you
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of the Healing Circle today. If something in this conversation touched you, let it land gently. You don't need to rush to understand it. Your body already knows. Remember, your story matters, and when it's shared in the right space, it has the power to heal, not just you, but others too. If you feel called to explore this work more deeply, you'll find links to my sessions, retreats, and offerings through Embodied Energy Wellness in the show notes. Until we meet again, go gently, stay connected, and trust the wisdom within you. Thank you for being here.